In my opinion, the Chicago Bears are the worst team in the entire NFL. I don't know what has happened to this team, but they have literally almost nothing on their roster. I am very sorry, Bears fans. I'm not sorry because I said what I said. I'm sorry because you have to deal with this team. So if you didn't know, I kind of have like a grading scale on how good a team is. Basically just how much they check the boxes. So in my opinion, what makes the best team in the NFL is 1, a top 10 quarterback, 2, a true number 1 wide receiver with 2 wide receiver 2 quality wide receivers next to him, if that makes any sense, or at least 1 and then a solid number 3, a solid offensive line, a true number 1 pass rusher with a solid number 2 next to him, and finally either A, a true number 1 corner with 2 to 3 decent corners around him, or B, a very deep group of corners with at least a good number 1. So let's go over this team real quick. A top 10 quarterback? Definitely not yet. Now last year's offense was ugly, and that's not Justin Fields' fault at all. That was purely just Matt Nagy being one of the worst head coaches I've ever seen. But with the surrounding cast here, I don't know if he's gonna be much better this year. We'll see though. And then a true number 1 with 2 wide receiver 2 quality receivers next to him? Definitely not. This is the worst receiving core I may have ever seen. Darnell Mooney is good, don't get me wrong. I think he will have a breakout year because he's really the only good receiver here. Other than him, you have Byron Pringle you just signed from Kansas City. He's whatever. He'll probably be your number 2 or whatever. And then you have a lot of players who have started before, like Dante Pettis, DJ Moore, Equinemius St. Brown, and Tajay Sharp. I expect one of them to do okay this year, and you also drafted Velus Jones, who's an old rookie, but he does bring a little bit of upside. And then solid offensive line? Definitely not. This is like the receiving core, one of the worst offensive lines I have seen. You have one solid player here that is Cody Whitehair, and then you have, I believe, an undrafted rookie, or at least a late round pick last year. Same deal here. I believe Sam Mustipher a couple years ago, though, was an undrafted player. Lucas Patrick, just kind of like what would be a 4th guard on most teams, is listed as a starter here. And then Tevin Jenkins, who is really good, but he's pretty raw, and I don't think he would develop much here. We'll have to see. I do think he can be good switching back to right tackle, though. And then true number 1 with a solid number 2 pass rusher? Definitely not. I think Robert Quinn is okay, but losing Khalil Mack, I think he's gonna get like a quarter of the production he was getting. Khalil Mack was getting double teamed like crazy. I just don't think he's gonna do much this year, at least compared to last year. Trevis Gibson I like, but I'm definitely not comfortable with him as my number 2 pass rusher. Robert Quinn is what I would want as a number 2. Definitely not a number 1. I think he's okay, but he's shown in his career that he can go from being amazing to pretty bad in the matter of a year. And you're getting pretty much nothing from your interior pass rush. This is a terrible defensive tackle group. Justin Jones is fine. Mario Edwards is okay, but it's not a good group is what I'm saying. And then your cornerback room, I think Jalen Johnson will have a breakout year this year as the number 1. He's been really, really good and really underrated. So, I don't know, the lack of pass rush might be a problem for him, but we'll see what happens. They obviously drafted Kyler Gordon this year. I do like him. Thomas Graham, I like. He played last year and looked absolutely amazing. It's just he didn't play much. And Tavon Young, a few years ago for the Ravens, was probably the best nickel corner in the NFL. It's just injuries. He's been injured literally every year, so that's not ideal. But today, we're gonna try and make this team back to where it was just a few years ago, before the double doink, whatever the hell all that happened. And if you enjoy today's video, be sure to drop a like and a sub, and turn on notifications for my channel. That helps me out more than you could imagine. And comment down below what team you want to see next. If I rebuild the team that you tell me to, I will shout you out and tell people to sub to you. But a few hundred people watch each one of my videos, and I only get like 10-ish likes per video, and I'm only at like 70 subs, so, which by the way, thank you for 70 subs, but if everyone subbed to me, we would be at a few hundred subs right now, so be sure to do that. But I'll stop plugging now, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and let's get into year number 1 of the rebuild. Alright, so here's a look at the team going into year number 1 of the rebuild. Obviously, I talked about most of the positions here, but there are a few more players that I do like on this team. David Montgomery, I believe he's going into a contract year, but I do think he's a very good running back. Khalil Herbert actually looked very good last year. I'm going to give him star dev, actually, so let me do that real quick. Cole Kmet can be a good tight end. It's just he hasn't really broken out yet. He's been stuck behind Jimmy Graham and just a not necessarily deep group, but just a full group of tight ends, if that makes any sense. Like, there have been a lot of players there that have taken reps from him. Looking at the defense here, Eddie Jackson had a really good year in like 2018 or whatever that was, but he hasn't been nearly as good since Adrian Amos left. Roquan Smith, I do believe, is a touch overrated by a lot of people. I do like DeAndre Houston Carson a lot. He just hasn't really been given an opportunity here, and I think he's going to lose that again with them drafting Jaquan Brisker out of Penn State. I do like him a lot, and I think he will do pretty well here. I just don't know if they really needed a safety because they had DeAndre Houston Carson already, who I like a lot. But yeah, overall, this team is just disgusting. And these are my custom rosters, by the way, so these are my custom ratings for every player. And in my rosters, they're only a 73 overall, so that's not ideal. But without further ado, I will see you guys at the midseason point of year number 1. And I would say let's see if we can make the playoffs, but if we do, I will lose all faith in this game and humanity, to be honest. Okay, so even though we're 2-5, that's honestly better than I thought we would be, and honestly better than we deserve to be. In real life, I don't know if I'm crazy for this, but I think this team has a chance to go 0-16. I do like their new coaches, so I don't think they will go 0-16, but their roster is just so brutal. But something interesting in the preseason is David Montgomery got Khalil Herbert to superstarred with the breakout scenario thingy, whatever. I don't know if it shows that here. No, it apparently doesn't, but yeah. So now Khalil Herbert has superstar dev. That's pretty cool. No players on this team have really developed too much. I mean, I guess Justin Fields is developing a little bit. I don't know how he doesn't have 500 snaps, but Tevin Jenkins does? How is Tevin Jenkins getting more snaps than Justin Fields? Are we taking him out of the game? I don't know, dude, whatever. But in terms of re-signings, let's see who we have. We have so much money, by the way. That's the bright side about this one. We have 114 mil to work with. I guess I'll bring back DeAndre Houston Carson because he's just cheap. He's so cheap, and just why not? We'll bring back Pat O'Donnell. Sam Mustipher, I guess, just because he's a star. Okay, well, fuck you then. I won't re-sign you. But yeah, nobody else here I would want to re-sign. I signed Ben Burkervin because he was just chilling in free agency, so I thought, why not? But yeah, obviously this team isn't really set up for this year, so this year doesn't really matter all that much. Let's sim to the... You know what? Let's just sim straight to the offseason. Let's just do that. We're not going to be in the playoffs. I'll see you guys in the offseason. Alright, and yeah, obviously here at the end of year number 1, we're not in the playoffs. Going 6-11. The Super Bowl was interesting. The Ravens absolutely shit on the 49ers, 41-3. So I guess this is a rematch of the blackout Super Bowl 10 years later. That's interesting. Exactly 10 years later, I think. Or I guess technically 11? I don't know. But just like before, not many players to re-sign. I guess I'll try to re-sign Ben Burkervin just to have depth at linebacker. And Jimmy Morrissey, I guess, will be our starting center. But let's take a look at the season stats for the year. So Justin Fields was pretty bad for Madden terms, I guess. 3,900, almost 4,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, 10 picks. I mean, everything was good except passing touchdowns and completion percentage, which are kind of the two most important things other than like throwing not many interceptions, I guess. David Montgomery was really good. 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns, no fumbles. Justin Fields only had 200 yards rushing, but still a good yards per carry. Khalil Herbert was pretty bad, but I guess that's just because he was kind of like a goal line back. He had 6 touchdowns. Byron Pringle was our #1 receiver. Why? 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. Okay. Darnell Mooney with under 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. Dante Pettis, 800 yards, 7 touchdowns. Cole Kmet had almost 700 yards with 3 touchdowns. In terms of sacks, is this normally here? I guess it is. Why does that look weird to me? I thought there were only like 2 columns right here. Whatever, that's fine. Larry Borum. I'm not going to do that yet, but 23 sacks isn't ideal. Tevin Jenkins wasn't very good. Sam Mustipher wasn't good. The guards were good though, but they're old, so I'm just basically gonna revamp the entire O-line. Alright, and in terms of defense, Roquan Smith led the team in tackles with 134, Jalen Johnson came in second with 104, so pretty good tackle numbers. In terms of tackles for loss, though, we actually had a pretty good amount. Trevis Gibson with 14, Justin Jones with 12, Robert Quinn had 11, and Mario Edwards had 11. In terms of sacks, though, we had next to none. Matthew Adams, I'm sorry, but why? I guess he was our starting left outside linebacker? But why did he end up with 5 sacks? What position was he playing? Was he playing like edge? Alright, that's interesting. Trevis Gibson had 3.5, Robert Quinn had 3. That's terrible. Cairo Santos, whatever, I don't care. So yeah, not a very good year. I don't even want to check yearly awards because we're not going to have any. I really don't care. And I'm going to be honest, I'm recording this like 3 days later, so I don't really remember what I was just doing. It looks like we have no more re-signing, so I will see you guys in free agency. Alright, so like usual, there aren't many good free agents here, but we do have a lot of money. I might just sign some older players just to kind of fill out this team. I'm actually going to try to get Odell, just for fun. Just because I can. Let's offer him a 4-year, $72 million deal. I'm going to bump that up a little bit. The Jags are pretty close. That's about the last team I could see him wanting to play for. The Jaguars? Yeah, no, that probably wouldn't happen. But now that I say that, it probably will. And let's bring in Jason Kelce. I mean, he's a really good center, still one of the better centers in the NFL. He had a down year a couple years ago, but this last year he was pretty good again. I offered Romeo Okwara a contract, but now that I think about it, in my Lions rebuild, he did pretty much nothing, so I'm going to wait until the draft to look for a pass rusher. And in terms of corner, we already have younger players that are about the same overall as the players in free agency, so I think that's all I'm going to do here. We'll try and get Jason Kelce and Odell Beckham Jr. We're competing with the Jags on both of those and the Bengals for Kelce, so hopefully we can get both of them just to kind of fill out this roster a little more, and because we have a ton of money, so let's see if we can get those 2 players. Okay, so Jason Kelce rejects us, but we do get Odell, so that'll help our receiving core. We really need O-line. I want to find some good O-linemen here, but there really just isn't one left. I'll just offer J.C. Hassenauer a contract so we have a better player than a 63 overall, and I will see you guys for the 2023 NFL draft. Is that what it's going to be? I think 2023, yeah. Alright, so because this game kind of sucks a lot of dick, we didn't have our first round pick this year. The Giants still had it from the Justin Fields trade up everything, because you can't shift over a year and keep the rosters the same, which I wish you could, but that's just how Madden is. Again, kind of sucks dick. But I had to do a lot of annoying shit to get our first round pick back, and now we don't have a second round pick, and now Julian Love is on the Broncos instead of the Giants. Just a lot of stuff happened. That kind of had to happen. But here we have the 10th pick. It took me like 20 minutes to have to do all that. And now we don't have a second round pick, sorry, but I really don't even know what I'm going to go with here. I just think offensive line is kind of the obvious thing. There are no good guards here, it looks like. So yeah, I'll look around for a good player and hopefully we can find one, or else I might cry if I did all that work for nothing. Alright, there isn't really a player that I need here, so I think I'm going to trade this down a little bit just to kind of get back some of the picks we don't have from having to deal with all the bullshit. I'm just going to trade back 4 spots with the Falcons to pick up a 3rd this year and a 4th next year. And then I am going to take Marquis Steele, a left tackle out of Florida. He is 6'5", 309 pounds, only 21 years old. He ran a 4.91 at the combine, which was 2nd for tackles, 32 reps, which isn't great, but not the worst. He has A awareness and A pass block finesse, B impact block, B pass block power, C run block finesse, which is confusing because you would think he would have good finesse and bad power unless he's just a player who's even better at power, but he's quick, not strong. I don't know, dude. Let's just take him. He has hidden dev, only 84 strength. I mean, I figured it wasn't going to be super high, but he put up like 30 reps. How is that only 84? I don't know, but he is a very good player, and hopefully he will be our left tackle for the entire rebuild. Alright, and here I'm going to take Maxwell Parks. He's a linebacker out of LSU, 6'1", 229, only 22 years old. Here in a 4.55 at the combine, 19 reps isn't terrible. B awareness, B play rec, B zone. Only C pursuit, but everything else looks pretty solid, so let's take him. And he has hidden, let's go. Very good player to pick up in the 3rd round, really fast, not very strong, but a very fast linebacker. Out of LSU, so we kind of just picked like white Patrick Queen, I guess, I don't know. And with this next pick, I'm going to be taking Quincy Brown. He's a defensive tackle out of Penn State. He's 6'3", 305. He's only 21 years old. He ran a 4.81 at the combine, a 4.76 at his pro day. Put up 34 reps on the bench. He has B play rec, C power move, so he's probably a speed rusher, and A impact block, B tackle, so he looks very good. Let's take him. Another hidden dev. Let's go, dude. 77 speed, 77 jumping for someone who's 305. That's insane. 87 strength, so yeah, he's a really good player. I'm very happy we took him. And with this last pick that I'm going to take before I sim it out, we are going to take Patrick Davidson. He's 6'3", 310, 21 years old out of Tennessee. He ran a 5.13 at the combine, 32 reps on the bench. But he has A pass block power, A run block power, A pass block, and B lead block. Almost full A's except the lead block, so let's take him. He has normal, unfortunately. That's actually really surprising, but he's probably going to be a decent overall, so he'll probably be our starting center for the rest of the rebuild. Unless he's just randomly a terrible overall, which I could see because it's EA. But he looks like a very good player. So I'm going to sim out the rest of the draft, and I will see you guys for the start of year number 2. Alright, well, for whatever reason, whenever I try to go to the draft recap, it crashes my game the first time. I don't know why. Again, EA is a garbage company, but we had a very good draft. So Marquis Steele is unfortunately only a 70 overall. That's kind of what I expected. His run blocking is very bad. His pass blocking is better though, which is more important anyways, so I'm very happy with that. He'll be a great left tackle. Maxwell Parks is a 72 overall. I thought he would be a little better, more like a 74. But he is a very good player still. Good speed, good pursuit, good excel, good a lot of things. Quincy Brown is about what I expected, a 70 overall. I honestly thought he was going to be a little lower, so I'm pretty happy with that. He is a speed rusher like I expected. Good tackle, okay finesse moves, good awareness, good speed, good strength, good excel, okay hit power. Looks like a good player. Patrick Davidson, is also a good player. He's a balanced player. I wish I could speak, that would be pretty cool. But yeah, he's a very powerful blocker, but he isn't slow either. He has good finesse. Not that finesse is directly tied to speed, but kind of. At least agility. He doesn't have the highest strength, but he is a good, powerful blocker. And I'm surprised he's a good pass blocker, even though his overall doesn't think so. Why is he a 67 overall pass blocker? I don't know. And the CPU drafted Zach Williams. He looks like a pretty good player. He might even get a little playing time because we have a pretty terrible pass rush group. It drafted Cole Leach, who's a 68 overall, looks like a decent safety. I don't even know if he'll make the team though. And Anthony Malone will be like a 4th string running back. Josh Montgomery probably won't make the team. So the CPU drafted some decent players for us, but I think I drafted a little better. I mean, I guess I had the earlier picks to be fair, but still, I'm giving myself that. Don't say shit to me. I'm better at drafting than the CPU. Alright, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I think I'm going crazy. Let us get into year number 2 of the rebuild. Okay, we actually have a rookie, I forgot what it was called, just a camp kind of thing. It's for Maxwell Parks, the linebacker. I bit my tongue when I was trying to say it the first time, that hurt. But, let's go zone coverage. Yeah, let's go zone coverage. I think that's pretty good. What's the best to go with? Let's go still evaluating. That sounds like it'll be a good future thing. Okay, well, it didn't give me anything. I hope that doesn't mean I just didn't give him anything at all. I'm guessing there's going to be another one here, right? Okay, yeah, rookie focus. That's what it's called, rookie focus. Please tell me it gives him something. Maxwell Parks has been really fun to work with. Okay, I love hearing that coming into camp. I don't care. Ooh. 4 zone? Let's go. That's pretty good. Okay, it looks like that's the move to do. Alright, here's a look at the team going into year number 2 of the rebuild. Not too many differences, other than obviously we have Odell Beckham Jr. as our number 1 receiver now. I think I'm gonna play, I guess I'll play Dante Pettis as the 3 because he's younger than Byron Pringle. I don't know, neither are probably gonna be playing by year number 3, but whatever. Obviously, we drafted Marquis Steele, who's a very good-looking left tackle, and Patrick Davidson is gonna be our center. The offensive line is still really bad, but at least it's a lot of high upside players now. Obviously, Justin Fields didn't have a great year last year, but he's developing. The running back room is looking great. And in terms of defense, we actually do have a couple rookies here. So there is Maxwell Parks, the linebacker. I moved him to left outside linebacker, so now we actually have a decent group here. And Matthew Adams was very good last year, but unfortunately he's not going to get much playing time. For our defensive tackles, obviously we have the rookie Quincy Brown, who's a speed rusher, but I want him to be more of a scheme fit, so I think I'm going to change. I think we're playing as a 4-3, but our playbook is a 3-4. That's not ideal. I'm going to change this to a better playbook for us. What's a good defense? I think the Browns defense normally plays well. Let's do that. So hopefully we get more pressure this year because we'll actually be in a 4-3 now. And yeah, not too much else is different with the defense. I mean, there isn't really even much development at all. It's kind of just similar to how it was last year. And specialists I haven't done yet, but I'll get that all reordered and everything. So we're looking pretty good. I'm excited to see how the team does this year, and let's get into year number 2 of the rebuild. I will see you guys at the mid-season point. Alright, so here at the mid-season point of year number 2, we are actually 3-4. I don't know why I just went over here. I don't know what I'm doing, but we're doing better than honestly I kind of expected, considering we're only a 77 overall. I wish I could just sit still and leave this here for a second so you guys could see it, but apparently I'm incapable of doing that. Let's check some of the season stats. Justin Fields is actually... the touchdowns are really good. The yards are iffy. The interceptions are very iffy. That's really terrible. But the touchdowns are good, I guess. Rushing, David Montgomery's doing fine. Odell is having a really good year. Let's upgrade him real quick. I'm very happy we picked him up. I don't know how I feel about him wearing number 12, but you know what? That's whatever. Blocking, how's the line doing? Very, very good. Whoa. So Lucas Patrick has 0 sacks so far. That's amazing. The rookie left tackle Marquis Steele only has let up 2 on the year. Our worst lineman so far is ironically our center, who typically let up the least sacks by a lot, but I mean, I'll take that. And in terms of defensive sacks, Travis Gibson. Do you say his name Travis, or is it Trevis? Trevis sounds kind of ugly, but I guess Travis sounds uglier. It's like saying Travis with a really weird accent. I don't know, dude, whatever. And Maxwell Parks is having a very good rookie year too. So it looks like our top 2 pick with Marquis Steele and not Patrick Maxwell, I'll call him Maxwell, I'm bad with names. It looks like both of them are doing very well, respectively. And we have a tandem breakout. I don't really know what these do. Does it mean like one player is going to make the other breakout, or let's praise him. Let's try that. I don't know if that works. Ooh, okay. Odell gets some XP, and hopefully he can get 150 yards, which I really doubt he can do. If he gets that, you will see it. If not, you won't. And we have some re-signings here. Ooh, Roquan. Okay, we're going to give him a 6-year deal. We have a ton of money. This is the best year to have a lot of money, because we need to get these players back. David Montgomery, obviously, will give him a big contract. Thomas Graham has been solid. I'll give him a 3-year, $9 million. That's only like $3 million a year. It's good. I'll probably re-sign Lucas Patrick just because he's been playing really well. And other than that, I don't really think I'm going to re-sign any of these players. It's just a lot of depth pieces here. I'll probably bring back Matthew Adams because he was very good in year number 1, and maybe some of these super young depth pieces here. But other than that, I will see you guys at the end of year number 2. Hopefully we can make the playoffs, but I kind of doubt it. All right, at the end of year number 2, we actually kind of had a bit of a collapse going 6-11. Let's check why that was. So stats and awards, let's check some of this. So it looks like Justin Fields did really, really well, other than interceptions and completion percentage. So 4,300 yards is good. It's not amazing because obviously there's an added game now, but it's still good. 34 touchdowns is amazing. 15 interceptions is way too many though. David Montgomery had 1,200 yards and 14 touchdowns. He was amazing. Khalil Herbert had 369 yards, nice, and 10 touchdowns. Justin Fields had some pretty good yards. Odell, though, 1,400 yards and 10 touchdowns. He was amazing. That potentially might be best receiver. He might win that award. We'll see. Dante Pettis had almost 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns. Darnell Mooney had 900 yards and 10 touchdowns. I guess Dante Pettis wasn't super close to 1,000, just had 900, whatever. And Cole Kmet had 859 yards and 8 touchdowns. Pretty good. For the offensive line, it was amazing this year. Our worst player was Tevin Jenkins, but even he wasn't that bad, I guess, letting up 9 sacks. Marquis Steele at left tackle, as a rookie, only letting up 8 sacks is unheard of. Patrick Davidson at center wasn't ideal, but he was a rookie, so I'll give him a pass, and the guards were decent. Roquan Smith led the team in tackles with 129. Maxwell Parks had 102. I thought Maxwell was his last name. I guess not. I'm stupid. Robert Quinn. Oh my god. I don't know why I keep clicking on the players. It's just kind of a bad habit, but 25 tackles for loss. Quincy Brown, potential. I think either way, we might have gotten Defensive Player of the Year or Defensive Rookie of the Year, whether it was Quincy Brown or Maxwell Parks, but Quincy Brown had 16 tackles for loss. Justin Jones had 15, Trevis Gibson had 12. In terms of sacks, they weren't amazing numbers, but decent numbers. Trevis Gibson had 7.5, Robert Quinn had 6.5. Quincy Brown as a rookie with 4 is great. In terms of picks, Parks, Eddie Jackson, and Jalen Johnson each had 3. Thomas Graham, Nicholas Morrow, and Jaquan Brisker each had 2, and Roquan and Kyler Gordon each had 1. So lots of interceptions for Madden at least, and lots of, not lots of sacks, lots of tackles for loss. So I'm actually pretty happy with how that year went, even though we weren't great. For MVP, it went to Tom Brady. I don't see any Bears in here though, unfortunately. Offensive Player of the Year goes to Tom Brady, obviously no Bears. Defensive Player of the Year, surprisingly no Bears. Offensive Rookie of the Year, no Bears. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Maxwell Parks comes in at number 4, and Quincy Brown all the way down at 7. Okay. I'm very surprised that we didn't win any of those, but it's whatever, dude. Odell all the way down at 5. These receivers must have had amazing years. So yeah, it looks like we had a disappointing year in terms of record, but our players did pretty well, so we're looking pretty good going into year number 3. Let's get into the offseason and let's turn this into a championship level roster. Alright, so the Baltimore Ravens take down the Dallas Cowgirls in the Super Bowl, 28-23. I'm sorry for calling them the Cowgirls. I don't mean it. Don't murder me, Cowboys fans. But let's get into the re-signings. Hopefully we have a lot of money at least, because I'm trying to go hard in the paint in free agency. I'm trying to fill out this roster harder than I fill out your mother, if you know what I'm saying. So, re-signings, I don't think we really have many at all. I'm not going to re-sign like any of these players. I guess I'll re-sign Dante Pettis just because he had a good year. He wasn't that good though, I guess. Well, he was pretty good, but he's just not that good of an overall. I'll re-sign, okay, I guess I won't re-sign Justin Jones. Nicholas Morrow, I guess wouldn't be bad to have. Okay, we got him back. I'm just kind of throwing money at these players because we have so much and they actually played well. Really? Lucas Patrick rejects us, so that kind of sucks. I don't really need Greg Kramer. I don't really need a lot of these players. They're just kind of depth pieces. Matthew Adams, do you want to come back? Okay, he does, cool. But yeah, mostly just depth pieces here, so I will see you guys in free agency. Hopefully there are some better players here than last year. Alright, so I'm thinking about cutting Robert Quinn to try to re-sign him in free agency, but every time I try to do that, they end up being more expensive than I expect, so I'm not gonna do that. However, I did cut I did cut Mario Edwards, which saved us about $3 million, which is pretty nice. But in free agency, there's some good players here. I kind of want to get DK Metcalf, I'm not gonna lie. Our O-line played really well last year, even though they're bad overalls. We still need a right guard. We might just look to the draft for that. Oh, wait. There's something I didn't notice. Hold on. I always forget to check this. Nope, wrong place. Hold on. Okay, so the rookie devs got revealed. Obviously, Steele only has star, which is still good, obviously. It's just the worst it could have been, I guess, out of any hidden. But Quincy Brown has Superstar X Factor. Did he earn X Factor and had Superstar? No, it looks like he just had X Factor. That is insane. He probably would have dev'd up anyways because he had a monster year, and Maxwell Parks has Superstar. Again, did he earn that? Okay, he did actually earn that. He had star. star and earned superstar. That is huge. Obviously, Nicholas Morrow dev'd up last year, and I think Eddie Jackson dev'd up to superstar? Yeah, he went up to superstar. That's pretty big too. And Robert Quinn dev'd up to superstar. So there were a lot of dev ups this year. I don't think there was anyone on offense other than Odell. Odell dev'd up. So we actually had, what, like 3, 4 this year? That was pretty good. Yeah, we had 4 this year and 1 last year. Damn, son. But back to free agency. I don't see a whole lot that I want other than one obvious player. Ooh, Bradley Chubb. He kind of plays terrible in Madden Sim. I don't know if I want him, but I have so much money, I might as well spend it somewhere. So I'm going to look for a few players, and I will get back to you when I decide who those players will be. That was a weird sentence, but you know what I mean. All right, so this is the final year, so we're going insane pretty much. The first player we're offering a contract for is obviously DK Metcalf. We're offering him a 4-year, $107 million contract. It's a bit of an overpay, but I'm honestly fine with that, especially with him at a 94 overall here. In real life, I think he's an underrated player. Maybe I'm just a biased Seahawks fan. Well, I'll say overhated, because underrated makes it seem, I don't know, people don't understand that word for some reason. Like, underrated means they are rated too low. So calling someone underrated doesn't mean they aren't talked about enough. It just means they are seen as worse than they really are. So to me, DK Metcalf is underrated at this point. One of the most hated players in the league, and I don't really know why. Up next, the legend Matt Gay. We're going to bring him in to be our kicker. Obviously, goated name. Cairo Santos has been pretty bad. Adrian Amos we're bringing back here. Jaquan Brisker has been okay. He hasn't been great, but he's been okay. He's just not developing as fast as I would want him to, and it's fun to bring back Adrian Amos, especially because he's a good overall. Bradley Chubb, we're way overpaying. Almost paying him as much as we're paying DK. He's going to play at defensive end, obviously, which is where I personally think he fits better anyways at 6'4", 275 rather than an edge, but, you know, what do I know? Obviously hasn't done a whole lot in real life, but we'll see if we can finally make him break out here. We're bringing in Jake Bailey at punter. Pat O'Donnell is getting pretty old and down to a 70 overall, so it's time to replace him. Sean Murphy Bunting we're bringing in because looking at the stats, our corners were honestly untalked aboutly terrible, if that makes any sense. Like, Kyler Gordon let up 40 catches and only got 1 pass deflection and 1 pick. So yeah, that's not ideal. Thomas Graham was actually really good though, allowing 37 catches with 7 pass deflections and 2 picks, but that was from the slot. Kyler Gordon, I definitely want a new starting outside corner. Jalen Johnson was whatever. So yeah, we're going to bring in Sean Murphy Bunting here, who's a decent corner for the Buccaneers. I honestly just wanted to spend all the money we have because, like, there's no point in not spending it, I guess. And Drew Tranquil, we're bringing him in on a 3-year, $23 million deal. Hopefully all of these players sign. I might honestly bump up this contract, even though it is ridiculous, just to get him to sign. Guaranteed. So let's sim a week and hopefully all these players sign with us. Okay, so honestly, I'm very much okay with this. So we get Matt Gay, we get DK Metcalf, we get Jake Bailey, we get Drew Tranquil, and we get Sean Murphy Bunting. The only one we don't get is Bradley Chubb, but I'm okay with that because our defensive ends, while they didn't get many sacks, I think Robert Quinn had 25 tackles for loss, Travis Gibson had like 15 or something, and Travis Gibson had like 7.5 sacks, Robert Quinn had like 6.5, so while those aren't crazy numbers, the tackles for loss are, so I'm fine with not getting Bradley Chubb because a lot of the time he doesn't play well in Madden Sim, plus he was a ton of money. Am I kind of coping right now? Maybe. But I honestly am kind of fine with it. And Drew Tranquil was a good pickup. Obviously, we got Sean Murphy Bunting. Let's take a look at the team from the actual depth chart viewer thingy. So we are up to an 83 offense, 79 defense. We still have a hole at right guard, and Adrian Amos hasn't accepted his contract. I didn't realize that. So safety isn't necessarily a hole, but I do want to get Adrian Is it Amos or Amos? Because I hear people say it Amos, but most of the time you pronounce that last name Amos. But whatever. He's getting other offers, but I'm just going to up his contract. I want to bring him back. It would be cool to bring him back to the Bears. Okay, we'll give him that. 3 years, 40 mil. It's about like 12, 13 per year. And he rejects us. Go fuck yourself then. Okay, apparently he doesn't want to come back to the Bears. So that's all for free agency, and let's get into the 2024 NFL Draft. Alright, so here in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins actually have the number 1 pick. That's a different one, I don't see that much, but we have the number 4 pick, and I think what I'm going to look for is either a guard, a defensive tackle, or maybe a corner or safety. Alright, so with this first pick, I am going to take Terrence Porter. He is 6'3", 315 pounds, only 21 years old, out of USC. He ran a 5.18 at the combine, which isn't very good, but oh well, it's a lineman, who cares. He put up 34 reps on the bench, has A awareness, A run block finesse, A lead block, and B's and C's for a bunch of other stats. He looks good. Let's take him. He is a hidden dev, thankfully. 88 strength, 76 jumping, so overall looks like a very good player. So he will definitely be our starting right guard for the 3rd and final year of the rebuild. Okay, well, I was gonna go with someone else, but Damien Kyle looks like an absolute freak. 6'5", 318, only 23 years old is kind of old for a rookie, but 23 years old, out of Auburn. He ran a 4.71 at the combine and had 36 reps on the bench, each being first. He also ran a 4.69 at his pro day. Nice. He has A block shed, B play rec, C pursuit, C hit power, so not the most amazing stats in the world. I do like the A block shed, obviously, and the B play rec is decent, so let's take him. He is normal dev. I want to die. I don't get why he wouldn't be a player that has a good dev trait, because typically players that can develop a lot are athletic players, and he's an absolute athletic freak. I don't really get how that works, but whatever, that's fine. He's still a good player, and he will be our DT2, but I think I'm just going to sim out the rest of the draft. The CPU can probably pick some good depth pieces for us, unless there's just something I'm not thinking about that we would need. I mean, maybe like a number 2 tight end, that would be nice. I think I'm going to go David Wheeler here. There is another good-looking tight end, but actually, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually double up on tight ends like the Ravens like to do. We're going to take Davion Whitmore. He's 6'6", 23 years old, out of Georgia. He ran a 4.63 at the combine, put up 12 reps on the bench. Not the highest vertical jump in the world, but not bad. I like the A awareness, but I just don't know a whole lot about him. We know the spec catch, the deep route. So let's just take him. He has normal dev. Okay. So he's pretty fast for a tight end, pretty strong for being that fast, I guess, and not super heavy at 6'6", so he'll be a good number 2, and I'm actually going to take a number 3, I think. Okay, well, the guy I wanted is gone, but we have Damien Powell here. He's 6'4", 255, only 21 years old, out of Tulsa. Ran a 4.71 at the combine, which isn't super good, but it's still pretty good. Put up 19 reps on the bench, which is meh. He has A short route, which is very intriguing. The A trucking is interesting, but that could also be nothing. I don't know. There could just be bad trucking tight ends in this class. We'll see. B catch in traffic, which is good. The impact block isn't great, but let's take him. Again, normal dev, and this guy's actually almost as fast as the last tight end we took, even though he's quite a bit slower in terms of 40-yard dash. I don't know. But he looks like a good tight end, so let's sim out the rest of this draft, and let's take a look at the draft recap. Okay, well, we have our best player that we have drafted this rebuild, Damien Kyle. He's a 77 overall as a rookie. 90 strength, 80 block shed, 83 tackle, good awareness, good speed. Dude's an athletic freak. Terrence Porter is a very good player too. He's a 74. That's higher than I thought he would be, even. So we're going to move him to right guard, I guess? Or should we move Whitehair to right guard? Now we'll move Porter to right guard. He is a very good player too. So Damon Powell is actually better than Davion Whitmore, which is very surprising. Plus he's younger. So I guess the short route running is pretty important. I guess he has good catching too. Decent spec catch. I don't know, I guess short route running is pretty important for tight ends. I guess that makes sense because most of the time they do just run short and intermediate routes. It also picked a decent running back, Montrell Waddle. He's a 68 overall. Nothing too crazy though. The CPU didn't do very well, but that's fine. It was the later rounds anyways. So overall, we had a pretty good draft, and let's get into the team for the 3rd and final year of the rebuild. Alright, here is the team going into year number 3 of the rebuild. We have low-key built a very good roster here. Obviously adding DK Metcalf, I just bumped my controller. DK Metcalf, Odell, some good rookies on the offensive line, some good rookies on the defense, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Drew Tranquil. We have turned this from probably the worst roster in the NFL to a pretty good one with still a ton of upside, with lots of rookies with really good dev traits, not depth traits. So yeah, this is a very, very good looking team, and hopefully that will translate into wins. So without further ado, I will see you guys at the mid-season point of year number 3. Alright, so unfortunately here at the mid-season point of year number 3, we are only 2-4. Now we started 2-1, and apparently we haven't won a game since then. Let's check some of the season stats. So it looks like Justin Fields is doing really terribly. I think it's kind of too late to look for a different QB, but yeah, in Madden, Justin Fields just isn't really all that good. David Montgomery's doing pretty well. Darnell Mooney, Odell, and DK are, well, Mooney and Odell are doing well. DK is meh. Cole Kmet is doing well. Okay, well, I think I see what the problem is. Marquis Steele has let up 7 sacks, and Tevin Jenkins has let up 6, and we're only at the mid-season point, so that's not ideal. We're getting no pressure on the defensive side of the ball. We have 5 interceptions, which honestly is okay for Madden, as weird as that is. And yeah, overall, man, this team just isn't doing well at all. I'm actually going to do something weird. We're going to switch to the Bucs offense. I don't know if that's a great move, but we're going to try it, because overall our offense just hasn't been that good throughout the whole rebuild. I think a lot of that is because of Justin Fields. He's just been playing kind of bad, but I'll see you guys at the end of year number 3, and hopefully we are doing a bit better, and hopefully somehow we can make the playoffs. Alright, so again we go 6-11 here, unfortunately, and obviously this was the last year of this rebuild, but if you want me to come back to this one, let me know by hitting the like button, and comment down below if you want me to revisit this one, because I think we're just 1 year away, but unfortunately I'm running out of time to record this, so if you want me to revisit this one, let me know down below by again commenting that you want me to redo it, and be sure to hit the like button. But obviously we do miss the playoffs here. Let's check some of the season stats. So Justin Fields, yeah, he's just not that good. I don't know why. But 5,000 yards, 31 touchdowns, but 20 interceptions. That's the most I've seen in Madden in a while. David Montgomery hit the 1,000 yard mark once again. Not his best year, but pretty solid with 13 touchdowns. Odell had 1,300 yards and 7 touchdowns. Darnell Mooney had 1,200 yards with 7 touchdowns. DK Metcalf had 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns. And Cole Kmet had 982, almost 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns. So it looks like the Buccaneers offense is very pass heavy. You know, who would have guessed? But yeah, we had some crazy receiving numbers this year. But in terms of blocking, Tevin Jenkins, he was awful. Marquis Steele was bad too. But most of the time, left tackles let up way more sacks than right tackles. Through this rebuild, Tevin Jenkins was just horrific. So also not much pressure at all. Our interior players were actually decent, but Robert Quinn was pretty bad. Travis Gibson was pretty good, close to 10 sacks and 18 tackles for loss. Quincy Brown had 29 tackles for loss. Jesus. In terms of picks, we have 4, 3, 2, 1. Not many at all. It looks like about 3 players or like 5 players on our team did well, and everyone else did terribly. So, like I was saying, this team still does have upside. I mean, we were 3rd for offense and 10th for defense. We should have easily made the playoffs, but we did not, because we didn't force many turnovers and we made a lot of turnovers, I guess. So unfortunately that is all for this video, but like I was saying earlier, if you want me to revisit this one, I absolutely will. We're seriously like 1 year away from being a great team, and I think if I do revisit this, I will look for maybe a new quarterback. We'll see. But yeah, just in general, be sure to drop a like, a sub, turn on those notifications for my channel because that helps me out a ton, and only this amount of people are subscribed to my channel, so I would appreciate if you did that. Let's bump those numbers up a little bit. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to comment down below what team I should do next, and I will see you guys again in the next video. Goodbye.